This game was perhaps the best kept secret for months.
I think actually the next segment coming up might be the best kept secret in the history of the internet.
They're calling it the best kept secret.
But this was probably one of the weirdest game releases by far. We knew it existed for months because of the Game Rating and Administration Committee of Korea. They gave it a rating, soft confirming its release. Then it was just silenced for months. We got nothing from SEGA, even during the Summer Games Fest or Nintendo Directs. We only found out it was coming out in June because of Walmart. Yes, not by SEGA, but Walmart. Twice. Physical copies even started to show up in stores too. Again, SEGA stayed completely silent on this until their little Sonic Anniversary livestream, where it was finally shown off and released then and there. So that was their attempt, quote unquote, at a shadow drop, holding the shadow part of the drop. I remember people were expecting Shadow to show up in this release as they did with Generations or Metal Sonic, just essentially adding another new story where it could maybe explain something related to, you know, Metal Sonic showing up and capturing the Chaos Emeralds, or in Shadow's case, why he was in Chaos Island on his version of Sonic Generations. When, let's be real, Sonic Team would never do that. They literally just added it in because Frontiers was recent. It was the same thing with adding a new model or anything of the sort. I really just thought this was just going to be a re-release on Switch 2. And there was already an example of that. Shadow Generations was technically a re-release of Shadow Generations, but on Switch 2. And all it really did was add a performance mode and a graphics mode. That was it. And really, there's no need to beat around the bush here, but that's exactly what they did with this game. They just tweaked the graphics enough to make it run at consistent 60 FPS in performance mode, and higher quality graphics at a consistent 30 in quality mode. The one thing that they did change that was pretty obvious from the get-go was an adjustment on how assets are loaded in, especially the range of it, as it seems to be expanded pretty far, much further than even on PC. It actually addresses one of the main issues I had with the DLCs of the game, where the platforms that they added after the fact, you know, for platforming challenges in the anniversary update, and even especially in update 3, where they weren't loading in until you essentially were on top of them. Now they load in much further away and you can see them on the map just from looking in the distance, which I assume is what Sonic Team wanted to do in the first place, but now they have. Now they could just bring this one over to other consoles and especially PC. That'd be great, guys. Thank you very much. Other than that, it's pretty much the same game, just with two options now. Pretty much the same story with Shadow Generations. There's nothing special about it. It's just an upgrade under the hood that makes it run better, and that it includes all the content, quote unquote, in the package, which is kind of pointless if the game is on a game key card, which means you still have to download it, which kind of makes the whole tagline of this release mean nothing in the end. It's just content that was free and downloadable before, but it may be a definitive Switch release, but it's just half-assed. I think if they really tweaked it enough, this game could have run at a higher graphical fidelity while running at 60 FPS. This just feels like they said, okay, good enough, and just let it go into the wild, as if it wasn't evident enough by the choice to release it on game keycard form, and the fact that this does not have an upgrade path from the Switch 1 version of it. It can read your save file from Switch 1, but there's no upgrade path, so you have to spend another full fat $50 on it. The thing that boggles my mind is the fact that they've already done an actual release on Switch 2, where not only did it have an upgrade path that was temporarily discounted to $5 when it came out, so people could actually buy it, but the fact that it was released on an actual game cartridge. No download, you could just pop it in and play it. So why go back to the old ways if it wasn't for just laziness? Just something that you could just shit out quickly and not worry about it if it fails. Which is crazy because people like me who bought it on Switch 1 at launch would have happily paid physical if it meant everything was actually on the cartridge. Especially in the era that we're currently in, where Sony wants to just maintain control over our purchases and completely eliminate the fact that we could have options. Just kind of poor timing on this. But in the end, it's just okay. It's perfectly average, and it's a perfectly average way to play the game. Not at $50 though. Oh, hell no. But it's whatever. Considering the fact that this could have been worse, it's okay. If you do have another way to play it, then you just use that, honestly. It's better, and it's probably going to be cheaper considering we get better discounts on PC, Sony, and other stuff. And this release is more so for very specific people that just play on Switch, or people like me who wanted a higher fidelity version of the Switch version. It's completely fine if you avoid this. It's not that big of a deal.
Actually, Angela brought in her niece yesterday.
That's
she
right.
was like 6 or 7 years old, and I was like, wow,